Hi there. In this video we'll be covering, can you write a book with ChatGPT? This is a controversial and complicated topic, and I'm glad you're watching this video. I'm excited to talk about it. Over the course of my writing career, I've written or ghostwritten 40 books at this point. I've instructed people not to write with ChatGPT, but at the same time, I know you're going to do it anyway probably. So it's not about me telling you yes or no. It's about really kind of weighing the pros and cons and kind of helping you choose the right path for yourself and your book. Before you go on that path though, I really just want to give you some tips, reasons why you really need to spend the time to do this the right way instead of just having ChatGPT write the whole book for you. By the end of this video, you will learn some of my personal hangups with AI, the tendencies of ChatGPT Books, and the best ways to use LLMs to write your book. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. It's interesting. I was recently on a call with a friend of mine who works in the book world, and we were talking about ChatGPT, and I was talking about how I don't use it to write books. She made an interesting point, the fair one, about how the fact that I don't use ChatGPT to write books is a reflection of the fact that I'm a really good writer. That if you're not as strong of a writer and you weren't going to write as strong of a book anyway, why not write it with ChatGPT? It's an elitist way to look at book writing to say, don't do it. And I think it's fair. I want to lead with that. There's an elitist viewpoint, and I feel like I've been a part of that too, of saying, don't do it, it's wrong. I get it. It's so empowering to see words coming out and to see this thing taking shape. If you're not strong as a writer, it's so easy to think of a tool like ChatGPT and say, it can help me write my book. Okay. If the ChatGPT book is better than something you would have done on your own, I get it. I get it 100%. So I'm not shaming you. If you're interested in doing that way, I just want to be clear about that from the beginning. Here's the reality though about ChatGPT books. They read differently. They're structured differently. You can kind of tell from the way that they're just laid out on the page, they don't really make a point. They don't really tell a story. They feel very formulaic, Here's 4 paragraphs, here's 4 paragraphs, here's 4 more, here's some headers in between. It doesn't really tell me anything. There's no oomph behind it. Obviously, it's a reflection of the prompts that you use. The better the prompt, the better the outcome. And if you can use the right prompts, you can get pretty readable and friendly text that feels book-like. So there's definitely ways to go about writing content that feels more book-like, but at the same time, ChatGPT books are very formulaic. There's actually companies out there that will tell you, write your book with $79 with our subscription model. I've read books that they've created, they're trash, they're garbage. Again, that's not to say that you might not be able to do it, but they don't read well. They're not reader friendly. A book is meant to help a reader accomplish a goal as much as it's also to help the author tell the story, and accomplish their goals. So there's goals on both sides of it. ChatGPT books often don't help the author accomplish their goal, other than saying I wrote the book. And then the ChatGPT books don't help the reader accomplish their goal, which is to learn something, to carry something forward in their life, to transform their life in some way. If you don't move the reader, your goals as the author are going to be diminished. It's great to say you wrote a book. It's great to say you put it out there. But what do you want to actually accomplish with the book? It's important to be honest with that. But again, prompting can help to get better outcomes. So the better that you can prompt, the better the text is going to be. To that point, a lot of times with ChatGPT books, the voice is wrong. Your writing voice is unique to you. Your writing voice is so unique, it's like a fingerprint. This is something that only you sound like. And the more that you use ChatGPT, the more your writing sounds like everybody else's. ChatGPT writing is meant to sound like everybody else. Obviously, there's, again, prompting you can use to make the ChatGPT text sound more like you. But a lot of times that doesn't end up happening. So now we have a sea of books that sound exactly the same from exactly the same vantage point. And there's nothing to be gained there. It's just all slop. Another thing to keep in mind is the call to action. What do you want the reader to do when they're done reading the book? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to engage with you? Do you want to take a journey together? Do you want to just move them with your words? Whatever the case may be, you need to have a call to action. What is your call to action with the book? What do you want the reader to do once they're done reading the book? Maybe you want them to sign up to work with you. What is going to teach them that you're an expert in the space if you're using ChatGPT to write this book and it's full of all the same stuff that everybody else has? What makes your book different? What makes your book stand out? You know, I have people I work with who have used ChatGPT in some instances, maybe to refine, maybe to bring things together. You know, and I'm always kind of wary about using it for a creation standpoint. But it can be very powerful in certain capacities. The reality is I use ChatGPT often. I really do. I use it for outlining. I use it for ideas. I don't use it for research. The research, generally not that strong, to be honest. It even tells you a little disclaimer at the bottom, like we're often incorrect. The research is typically flawed or it's based on skewed links. A lot of times when I'm doing research with ChatGPT and I'm not getting the results I want from Google, which happens, I will go to ChatGPT and enter a search query into it and come up with the result, and then I'll go to the link that it gives me. Is this a good link? Is it valid? Is it worth paying attention to? Is this a good resource? It's great to be able to analyze what's out there in the collective world and provide insights, but go to that next level. I look at it similarly to Wikipedia. I work with people who try to quote Wikipedia. I'm like, don't do that. No. Don't quote Wikipedia. In the same token, don't quote ChatGPT, but use the links that it leans on for its material and see how that matches up. See if that's credible. Take that next step, go to the original source. Again, ChatGPT is really powerful for ideas and organization. If you're really struggling to get an outline in place for your book, for example, you can use ChatGPT or Notebook LM or another site like it, and you can plug in ideas and it will spit out an outline in a matter of seconds. That's super empowering. It's super empowering to be able to get access to that kind of information. Then you can tweak it and adjust it and see if it's something that really works for you. There are times when I'm working on a book that I will try that just as a test, see what it comes up with. And I'm like, no, this stinks. It's awful. There's other times I'm like, this is actually really close, and I'll just kind of tweak and adjust a couple things. So it's great to be able to think in terms of how these tools can help you, how these tools can benefit you and streamline your efforts to really empower you to make progress. Whether you use ChatGPT or write independently, I want you to retain your voice. Retain your writing voice. Your writing voice matters. And the more that you can write in your own voice, the more that your message really can resonate. It can stand out. It can be a little bit different. Your writing voice is a reflection of you. You don't want to give that up. It's so important to be able to hold on to that and preserve it and protect it at all costs. The moment that you start giving that away is the moment that your writing is not really yours anymore. It's a really loss of that creative element, that creative energy, that spark that makes you you. It's so important to retain that. And ultimately embrace originality, be different. The way that you're going to stand out with your book is by being different. If you write a book that sounds like every other book out there, your book is not going to be different. It's going to be thought of as also ran, as kind of the same as everybody else's. You don't want to be the same. You want to be a little bit different. And you can be a little bit different by bringing creativity and originality to this process, by really thinking about what makes you unique and bringing your uniqueness into your book. So again, I get it. I understand why you want to write a book with ChatGPT, and I'm not telling you not to. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do it. I'm just telling you that there's reasons why ChatGPT books often fall short of authors' expectations, and it's because they haven't done enough to make the book stand out. They haven't made the book feel different or unique. They haven't tapped into the unique message that the author is trying to share, and the author hasn't tapped into the reader journey to figure out why a reader would want to read this book and what they want to do next. If you can do all of those things and still work with ChatGPT, all the power to you, and I wish you the best. If you want to learn more about can you write a book with ChatGPT, I'd love for you to check out another video I recorded. I'll link to it on the screen. It's called Tips for Writing a Book in 2026. In that video, I really talk about the path to publication, the writing journey, what it means to make progress with your writing and just sticking with it because your book matters and it's so important to bring your message forward. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.